The lottery. Your odds of winning a major lottery jackpot are roughly 1 in 300 million. To put that in perspective, you are more likely to be struck by lightning while being attacked by a shark than to win the Powerball. And yet, Americans alone spend over $100 billion on lottery tickets every year. That's more than they spend on movies, music, and books combined. Here's the darkest part. Studies show that a large chunk of lottery ticket buyers are people in the lowest income brackets. The lottery is, in many ways, a system that takes money from the poor and occasionally, theatrically, hands some of it back. Is it fun? Yes. Will it make you rich? No. Moving on. Inheritance. Ah yes, the oldest wealth-building strategy known to mankind. Pick the right parents. This is not a joke. An estimated 35 to 45% of all wealth in developed countries is inherited, not earned, not built, handed over in a will while everyone cries in an expensive suit. Take Walmart. The Walton family, who are Sam Walton's children and grandchildren, still own about half of Walmart. That is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, and they did not build it. They inherited it. The Mars family, the people behind chocolate bars like M&M's, are worth over $100 billion. Many of them have never even run the company. They just live off the money that was left to them. For ordinary people, inheritance is much smaller. Maybe your grandmother leaves you her house. Maybe your parents help you pay for your first home. But even these smaller gifts are very powerful. A $50,000 head start, for example, can grow into a life-changing amount of money over many years. The gap between people who inherit something and people who inherit nothing is not just a billionaire problem, it affects everyone. If you want to get rich through inheritance, your main task is to be born into the right family. Unfortunately, the application window for that closed about 9 months before you arrived. The 9 to 5. Don't roll your eyes yet. People often make fun of the regular 9-to-5 job, but here is something most people do not tell you. A person earning $70,000 a year can retire as a millionaire if they are careful with their money. Here is how it works. You get a job, you spend less than you earn, which, by the way, is the hardest part, not the working itself. You put some money into investments like index funds, retirement accounts, or property. Then you wait. Time does most of the work for you. The S&P 500, which is basically a collection of America's biggest companies, has grown by about 10% every year on average over the last 100 years. If you invest just $500 a month starting at age 25, by the time you are 65, you could have nearly $2.7 million. The numbers are amazing. The hard part is just being patient. The people who fail at this are usually not the ones with small salaries. They are the ones who spend more every time they earn more. Your pay goes up, so you buy a nicer car. You move into a bigger apartment. You sign up for more subscriptions. And somehow, even with more money coming in, you are still broke, just in a more expensive way. The 9-to-5 path to wealth is real. It just takes 30 to 40 years and the self-control of a monk, which is why everyone's looking for shortcuts. Real estate. Ask any regular person who became a millionaire how they did it, and there is a good chance the answer is property. Real estate works on a simple but powerful idea called leverage. Here is how it works. You pay for 20% of a home and borrow the other 80% from the bank. But when the house grows in value, the whole house grows, not just your 20%. For example, you buy a $300,000 house by putting down $60,000. The house goes up in value by 10%. You have just made $30,000 on a $60,000 investment. That is a 50% return. Not bad. Then there is rental income. You buy a house, you rent it out, and your tenants basically pay your mortgage for you every month. Over time, you own more and more of the house while other people's money pays for it. The only catch is that being a landlord comes with its own headaches. You need capital to start, you need to understand local markets, and managing a property takes real time and effort, something people tend to forget when they talk about passive income. But as a long-term way to build wealth, property is hard to beat. Crypto. We have to talk about it. Cryptocurrency has made more people millionaires more quickly than almost any other investment in history. It has also wiped out more people's savings, ruined more investments, and caused more arguments at family dinners than almost any other investment in history. And sometimes the very same person went through both. The most famous early Bitcoin story goes like this. In 2009, a man named Christopher Koch bought 5,000 Bitcoin for just $27. Then he forgot about them completely. 4 years later, in 2013, he heard about Bitcoin on the news and suddenly remembered. He dug up his old password and found that his coins were now worth nearly $900,000. He sold a fifth of them, bought an apartment, and never had to explain himself to anyone ever again. But then there is the other story. Everyday people putting their money into coins with names like SafeMoon and Shiba Inu at the height of the hype, and then watching 90% of their money disappear within just 6 months. Crypto can be a real way to build wealth, but the people who have consistently made money from it are usually one of 3 types. People who got in very early and held on through all the ups and downs, people who actually built the technology and platforms, or experienced traders who understood the risks and never bet their life savings on a coin with a cartoon dog on it. The lesson is not that crypto is good or bad. The lesson is this: investments with big rewards also come with big risks, and the people who lose are almost always the ones who joined late, followed the hype, and had no plan for when to get out. Content creation. The internet has created a completely new way to get rich that did not exist 20 years ago. It is fair and unfair at the same time. Anyone can try, but not everyone wins. Take MrBeast. His real name is Jimmy Donaldson. He started making YouTube videos at age 13. For years, he made almost no money, but he studied deeply how YouTube works, kept improving his videos over and over, and put every dollar he earned straight back into making bigger and better content. Eventually, he became the most followed individual creator on all of YouTube. His estimated net worth today? Over $700 million from making videos. But here is the part most people get wrong. MrBeast is not a normal success story. He is an extreme exception, the same way Michael Jordan is an exception in basketball. He is not proof that YouTube is an easy or reliable path to wealth. He is proof of what is possible at the very, very top. So what is actually realistic? A creator with around 500,000 loyal followers can earn anywhere from $500,000 to several $1 million a year through ads, brand deals, merchandise, online courses, and memberships. That is a real business, a proper growing business. It just takes years of consistent work before the money gets serious. The real path looks like this. Focus on a specific topic, genuinely help your audience, build their trust over time, and then earn money from that trust. It works. It just does not happen overnight, and it looks much less like going viral and much more like showing up every single week for 4 years straight. Crime. We would not be telling the full story if we left this one out. Yes, crime has made some people very rich. Pablo Escobar was reportedly making $60 million a day from selling drugs. Frank Lucas built one of the most powerful drug empires in American history and was worth an estimated $52 million at his peak. Bernie Madoff stole around $65 billion from investors in the biggest financial fraud ever recorded. But here is what those same stories also include. Escobar was shot dead on a rooftop by security forces at just 44 years old. Frank Lucas spent years in prison and died with only a tiny fraction of the money he once had. Madoff died in prison at 82 after serving 11 years of a 150-year sentence. The pattern is always the same. Crime is a terrible way to try to get rich. When you add up the prison time, the constant fear, the legal costs, and the fact that your life could be cut short, the numbers are deeply, catastrophically bad. And on top of all that, it is simply wrong, which should be obvious but needs to be said anyway. Skip this one. Start a business. This is where most wealth in the modern world is actually created. Starting a business is not as exciting as people make it look. 8 out of 10 businesses fail within the first 5 years. Of the ones that survive, most just do okay, comfortable but not wealthy. The number of businesses that actually make their owners truly rich is very small. But those few are responsible for almost all the big fortunes you hear about. Let's look at a real example. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in his garage in 1994, selling books, just books. He was not trying to change the world from day one. He found a product, used the internet to sell it, and just kept growing it year after year for decades. Today, he is worth around $200 billion. But you do not need to be Jeff Bezos. A plumbing company with 20 workers can bring in $3 to $5 million a year. A small software business run by just 3 people can make millions. Even a simple online store selling something very specific, like spare parts for old motorcycles, can be very profitable, simply because not many people are bothering to compete for it. The businesses that make ordinary people rich are almost never the cool or exciting ones. They are usually boring, unglamorous businesses in industries that nobody talks about: pest control, waste management, accounting, cleaning services. Rich people are quietly making serious money in these areas, and nobody is making a big fuss about it. The lesson? The boring business nobody wants is often the one worth having. Marry well. It's not glamorous to say this out loud, but marrying into money is a genuine, time-tested path to wealth that has been working since the oldest days of human history. Melinda Gates did not inherit her billions, but being married to Bill Gates put her close to one of the biggest fortunes ever built. When they divorced in 2021, she reportedly received around $76 billion in assets. She now runs one of the most powerful charitable organizations in the world. But you do not need to marry a billionaire for this idea to matter. At a much more everyday level, marrying someone who is financially responsible, hardworking, and smart with money is one of the most important financial decisions you will ever make. Not because you are chasing someone for their money, but because the person you marry will directly shape your financial future. Their spending habits, their attitude towards saving, and their money goals will become your shared reality. People who marry big spenders tend to stay broke together. People who marry savers and builders tend to build wealth together. The romantic way to say this is, find someone who shares your financial values. The more practical way to say it is, who you marry may be the single biggest financial decision of your life. Both of those things are true. Sports and entertainment. Earlier, we said the lottery is a terrible way to get rich. Well, meet a slightly better version of that same idea. Professional athletes and entertainers are living proof that rare, natural talent, combined with years of extremely hard work, can take someone from having nothing to building generational wealth in just 10 years. LeBron James grew up poor in Akron, Ohio. By the time he stepped away from the NBA the first time, he was worth over $1 billion. And most of that did not come from his basketball salary alone. It came from endorsement deals, his own production company, his ownership stake in Liverpool FC, and his media business. Rihanna is also now a billionaire, and most of her wealth did not come from music. It came from Fenty Beauty, her cosmetics brand that she launched in 2017. But here is the cold, hard truth. For every LeBron James, there are 10,000 kids who were the best player in their entire state, trained their whole lives, and never made it onto a professional team. For every Rihanna, there are hundreds of thousands of singers just as talented who never got their big break. The path is real, but the odds are brutal, and the window is very short. Most professional sports careers last less than 5 years. The athletes who stay wealthy are the ones who use their playing career as a starting point to build businesses on the side. The ones who end up broke are the ones who thought that earning a lot of money was the same as being wealthy, but it is not. Earning a high income is not the same as building wealth. Wealth comes from owning things, assets that grow in value over time. Some people only learn that lesson after losing everything.